Hello, everyone. Welcome to Asia Society's Zoom webinar. In relation to our current exhibition at the Chantal Miller Gallery, we are very proud to present this event to you, showcasing a conversation between two artists, Margaret Chu of Hong Kong and Aurelien Boussin, originally from France, who has joined us from abroad today in this Zoom session. My name is Joyce. I'm head of gallery and exhibitions at Asia Society, and together with 10 artists and in collaboration with the ARCAD Foundation of Italy, we are really pleased to be able to showcase a contemporary sculpture exhibition that runs from March till June 2023. So without further ado, at this artist-to-artist cultural exchange session, we are really looking forward to learning more about the artistic process of each artist. And we have asked Margaret and Aurelien to join us today because they are one of the paired artists that have collaborated on 6 pieces of artwork that they have created for this exhibition. So we are going to start off now with Aurelien talking us through his story with some slides to back it up. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Aurelien, French sculptor. I'm living in Italy and working on marble. I'm present today my pieces. Can we maybe come back a little bit behind on the picture? Yes, the first one. Okay, for the idea and the process of this sculpture, I have a lot of inspiration about animals, nature, simple form, and with a good shape and a good superficie, to have something clean for the eyes and clean for the hands for touching, and to have a good sense, not just about the feeling of the sculpture, but the feeling about the sensitive way to see a sculpture. I like to work with the nature and the animal, and I wanted to represent this kind of flamingo. This flamingo, it's of course a bird, but a particular bird living in between water, between the earth and between the sky, of course. Maybe the only one birds in this kind of 3 contests of nature. During the pandemic, COVID pandemic, I wanted to represent a bird like a sleeping bird in rest, in a kind of pose, and to have a good restart after this pandemic, like a sleeping moment. On this picture, you can see the process of the work, the drawings I made with the small model you have in the front or behind the sculpture in plaster, and I do it in the small measure, and I use the compass or a meter to put it in a good size. I wanted to put it in 70 centimeters high, and it's a long process to have something clean like that. I use a machine like different disc. Maybe we can pass to the other picture. Yes, this is on this picture the process of the finishing of the work. I use a kind of small stone to have this kind of really perfect shape and perfect superficie, and this feeling of finishing precisely. It's important the position sleeping position of this bird before to have a restart. I mean, after this pandemic, it was the feeling of the rest and to fly again, to have another perspective and another travel and another things to see. We can pass again. Thank you. This is the bird, of course, now on another position. It's I use on this technique too, this kind of disc machine, and this small stone you can see on the ground is to polish and to have a good finishing of the sculpture and a good shape. The shadow of the stone is very difficult to have because the white marble, if it's not perfect, you have some small shadow appearing on the sculpture and don't give a good light on the finished pieces. I have to be precise on the line too, and to have the eyes following a line and following, of course, a good details. The other one, thank you. This is a fantastic project of Margaret. I was totally surprised to see this movement of the moon, and she made a crazy work because I was totally surprising about it. I saw we had at the beginning the opportunity to choose which artist we wanted to be and to share and to work on with him. And it was easy to choose for me. It was my first option. It was this fantastic work she made. And I choose her, and I choose this stone, of course, before, without to know Margaret very well. It was like a really good feeling on it. Of course, the sensation to work on it was really, really difficult. I bring it to my studio in Italy near Torino, and the contact, the feeling to touching again, to follow the lines with the eyes and to turn around. It's not, of course, the same material. The wood is more hot. It's a hot material. Marble is more cold. And you must to feel the feelings with the hands. And I passed some different days to sketch it, some drawings, and to dream about it, to think about it, and to what I can do on it. It's difficult to touch, of course, another pieces, sculpture from another artist. It's a kind of way of communication, of speaking, and from another culture in another part of the world. Of course, it was really hard to touch it. Maybe we can pass the other sculpture picture. Thank you. This is not a very good picture. Sorry about that. It's in my studio in Italy, and I turn in every part the stone. I put it down on the other sense, and the best way to see it was on feet like that. And I try to follow the movement of the moon, who Margaret wanted to represent and to keep it, but to give more contrast with the white marble, of course, more shadow, more lines, and more movement on it. Thanks to pass the picture. This is the evolution I wanted to represent on the right picture, the small details from the moon or the clouds. I can mean to like that. The movement of the sky turning with the moon, and with the small details, marble details, and skinny pieces, to create some shadows and new lines, and to follow, of course, this position of the moon. I cut with a small tools, like a small incision in the wood. It's a fantastic wood because they had a very good smell, and it was really nice to work on it for this kind of thing too. Marble don't have smell, just dust, and to work on the wood, it was really interesting for that. It was a long process to make a lot of pieces skinny like that, polishing and fix them on it, and difficult to have the first cut on the Margaret sculpture, of course. Thank you to pass the picture. This is the presentation of the small pieces fixed together, and it was a long process because I have to wait the glue fix for each pieces, and to put and fix other pieces together at the end to fix it on the sculpture. And the movement, we can follow it more. Maybe if we continue on the other picture now. Yes, this is, I wanted to use the line of this small pieces circle, and to have something, what can I say, something between verticality and the circle and the perfect rotation, have the moon on the sky. I like the contrast of this, the Margaret sculpture, how she made on it, with the circle and the different line, different shapes. I wanted to use something more geometrical lines. Thank you to pass the picture. Yes, and on this one we can see the same. We can follow with the eyes a little bit the movement of the moon, turning from the bottom to the top and under the sculpture again. Thank you to pass it. Yes, this is one of the more precise stone presentation, and we can see the moon on the top turning with a sculpture and with a different shape on the bottom. This is the other project. I had to make a presentation with the different eggs. I like the form and the shape of this simple sculpture, I can say like that. This is a marble from Italy too. It's a Zebrino marble with horizontal lines. And I wanted to represent two eggs, like broken, open, with a perfect line in the middle, and to use this perfect line of nature. On the left part, this is a white marble and half moon tree. Again, we are speaking about nature and the symbolic of the nature, and like a tree in the middle and taking maybe the moon, and with this kind of shape of maybe like construction or a tissue. For these eggs, I wanted to have something perfect too, with a perfect by hand on the fillings, and to have this vertical rupture with the eggs. And you will see after Margaret use a really interesting work on this one to break this line. This is a tree, this kind of finishing. I use some different material to work on it, like small stone and small rapes. And this is the finishing of the both of project I made. And we conclude with Margaret some different project together on them. And at the end, she surprised me because she made another things. And the surprise was really, really, really maybe better than the beginning. Thank you.
Thank you, Aurelien. Thanks so much for sharing with us your process in terms of working on this collaborative piece and pieces with Margaret. And we're going to hand over to Margaret to hear her side of the story and her own individual practice as an artist as well. So over to you, Margaret.
Okay. Okay, I want to show the first slide is about my Hong Kong team. They are good. I know them for many years, and we are good friends actually. And my practice is I love to make wood sculpture and also some paper sculpture, and also I do some painting. So for this time, the topic of my art is related to something we can see every day or most of the day, but it's just come out in our life, jump into our life, and then they certainly disappear in a very short time. So I want to capture this kind of short period of time and turn it into sculpture. So you can see in the sketch, you can see there are in those pictures, there are moon, cliff and sea. So I want to capture the moment when the moon coming from one side to another side. So I draw the sketch. This is a very quick sketch, and in my mind, I want to capture the moon above the sea. In front of me, just running in the sky. And this is the model I make, but I cannot make it because after I look at the wood I found, this is the wood. Aurelien, maybe I didn't show you this picture. This is the sculpture we make, the moon sculpture. The original wood is actually like this.
That's amazing.
This is so raw, and
yes,
this is
to create artwork from that. Amazing.
Yeah, I think artists have the eyes of beauty. He can see something fun in something casual or very normal things, but we can see some beauty and turn it into sculpture or artworks. And this is the raw sculpture, and so I try to follow my model and turn my wood into the sculpture, but I found there are some difficulties inside when I'm making the sculpture because, you know, the wood, there are some hole or some broken parts, so I need to cut them off. So I cannot totally follow the model what I'm going to do, but anyway, because I think artists can go with the flow. We can develop something new when we are making our artwork. And you can see this is the very you start to see the shape of our sculpture, my sculpture, and working. And this is the tools of my when I'm making wood sculpture, some machine and some hand tools, some dust. And this is the final one. You can see from
amazing. The before and after. Like I said,
Yeah.
it's like a metamorphosis, isn't it?
It's totally different.
Yeah.
The wood is abundant wood. Is collapsed because of Hong Kong typhoon. But one of the artists in our exhibition at Aurelien, he liked to keep this kind of wood for his artwork. He's so kind. He gave this to me, so I turned it into my sculpture. And this is the final one after Aurelien's collaboration. I love Aurelien's input on my artwork because he said he can read my mind. He understands my work, and he understand the artwork, the movement, the moon, the shapes, the feelings, and he enhanced all these elements into and combine artwork. And so I first time see this artwork, I'm going to cry because I am so touching when I see Aurelien did it, put some marbles on this artwork. Thank you, Aurelien. This is the exhibition with both of our artworks. And the right-hand side, you can see the flamingo, and I'm going to talk about this because this is also an amazing artwork when I received it, because, excuse me, because Aurelien say the truth when I look at the picture, because we need to choose which artist you want to be your partner. Aurelien also is my first choice because when I look at his artwork, I'm attracted by the lines of his artwork. His sculpture is a lot of lines, beautiful curves, beautiful shapes. So this, you are my first choice. And I'm so happy to see this beautiful flamingo artwork. And when I see this artwork, I'm trying to think what I'm going to input on this elegant, sleeping flamingo. And
this is an amazing slide, Margaret, because this is the sort of behind the scenes insight that we get by speaking to you both, Margaret and Aurelien, and really tracks sort of the artist's psyche and process in creating and delivering a work. I think some visitors, when they come to view the exhibition, even today, they find it hard to believe that the artwork went through a development process, because in its finished result, it looks so perfect that it's hard to imagine, because of course they don't live in the artist's mind. So seeing this put on paper, pen to paper, gives us a hint of the daily thoughts that go through your head. You know, for the final piece, which we've already seen images of provided by Aurelien and Margaret, but just look here, you know, from idea 1 to idea 2 to idea 3, sort of, did you two have very long phone calls and WhatsApp calls to decide? Did Margaret become a dictator and just decide this method? Or what, how did you just fall on the final version of, which was actually idea 3, isn't it? So yeah, how did you say no to idea 1 and 2 and land on idea 3?
Yeah, because why there are idea 1 and 2, because and when I look at a really beautiful flamingo, I think the shape of his body is looked like a seed. It's something like growing up from inside. So I tried to, when the very first time, I tried to think what inside the body is. So that's why I think about the seeds and the small plant. But after that, I think, oh, maybe just the egg is fine, just related to the flamingo shapes of the body, the curves. But after that, I think more clearly, because I want to do something related to our situation. Our situation is because of pandemic, we cannot meet each other in person. We just like pen friend, look at your artwork, look at my letter, like this. So I want to make some communication to his artwork. So that's why his bird looking down, like talking to someone. So this is my give me an idea to, oh, maybe I can make a very small bird. This is a spiral, it's a kind of Hong Kong bird, 小麻雀, to relate to like talking to this Italian flamingo, or maybe France flamingo. So
French flamingo.
So that's why this is the first idea. I want to make this. I want to talk to this big bird. I'm a small bird. I want to talk to this big bird. So finally become 2 birds talking and confirm this idea.
Perfect choice. Yeah.
And
Good
Aurelien,
communication.
you of course agreed to this artistic decision making. What were your thoughts when Margaret, you know, conveyed and communicated this to you? How did you react?
I'm really surprising to see these beautiful drawings. It's really interesting indeed. And I think the best choice she made it is with the bird, the communication, and this maybe fragile communication with two people, with distance and two material, and there is the small bird she made. It's totally perfect because she's watching the big bird and they are communicating together, like they are speaking. Yeah, they are speaking each other. And I think it was a surprise for me. And on the picture, I don't see very well the details, but when I see the picture, the sculpture on the exhibition, it was totally surprising. Really, really beautiful pieces. Yeah. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Aurelien. And this is the wood I make for I make for the bird, little bird sculpture. Is a round wood stake. I like this picture. It's taken by a photographer because we are Hong Kong, very small space for doing artwork. And this is our one of the artists in this exhibition, Danny Lee's studio. He have a very good place for us to make his artwork. So the cityscape, we are inside the city to make our sculpture. And this is the small bird. And also this is inspired by the flamingo, beautiful flamingo, because I like the lines and I like the shapes of the flamingo. So inspired me to make this wood sculpture.
Yeah, both birds are very well fed.
Yeah,
yeah,
fat body, healthy, and
not skinny.
Not
skinny.
Yeah, this is another art piece. This is the wood. Because as I mentioned, I want to capture the moment, the natural, very good, beautiful. Very short time.
If you go back to the previous slide, Margaret, this wood picture. So you had to make the selection based on what you see to select the exact pieces of chopped wood that you could envision becoming your final art piece. Is that correct?
Yeah, for the first time, I have a very rough idea in my mind. Like Michelangelo say, as a sculptor, is taking out something from the wood or marble or wood. But we are doing the same things. We have something in my mind, our mind, and then try to find some material good for your idea. And then go for it.
So you have the idea, you see this lot of pre-cut wood, and then you make your selection, and then you turn it into an art piece. It's very difficult to choose because there are a lot of different shapes, size, material. I mean, even here, there must be a choice of, let's say, like 30 pieces. Each of them could become an artwork. And eventually you selected pieces to create the more petite and compact sculptures that we have now showing in the annex at Asia Society. And the next slide is the next slide is go back to my concept. My usually concept is like to capture some short moments appear in our life and it's go very fast. So this is the meteor, 流星, meteor. Shooting stars, I think. The star. I want to capture this moment, and I found the wood, and this is when I am working. This is a very ugly one because I'm still making, and it's that to see. It's that going to see the shapes. I know will be like this. That's so beautiful. I'm so happy to work on this. And this is the artist Leung, also one of the exhibitor in the exhibition, Ho Yun. He helped me to measure Aurelien's artwork to fit in my sculpture.
And finally, the artwork will be like this. I am so surprised when I saw Aurelien's artwork. It's like a cloud in the sky, cloud or moon in the sky, coming up, crossover with the stars. I think it's a romantic one.
Yeah. And it's just so amazing how separately each piece created by yourself, Margaret, and Aurelien are perfect in their own way. But when they come together, it becomes an entirely different piece altogether.
Yeah.
So the previous images you showed of that perfectly worked kind of tube-like, sort of macaroni-like piece of wood, even before the picture by Ringo. Yeah, look, that when with Aurelien's marble chips and moonlight added to it, it becomes a completely different feeling.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
So surprised.
So surprising. And did you feel that element of surprise as well, Aurelien?
Yes, for this kind of piece, it was not easy for me because I didn't want it to represent a star, you know, just this kind of feeling of simplicity, and to be sure the sculpture, it's like that. Well, a star, and of course a falling star, and maybe too easy. It's interesting for us to make working the imagination, of course, and not to have the answer writing on the sculpture. It's that I like to maybe it was not easy for this one too, because maybe the sense is not the same at the beginning, like you say, Joyce, of course, but I think we can imagine the both of them met each other together and to feel another things. Make curiosity, of course.
Yeah, and for this piece, Aurelien, for the sort of the moonlight in the sky, you've actually used mixed media, as it were, so different types of marble, isn't it? You combine both the blank stark white Carrara marble with the zebra marble.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to use the marble I use for the other sculpture, and to this is a zebra marble, yes, and the white marble from Carrara in Italy. And for the lines she made, Margaret, on it, I wanted to make a rupture on it, and to use other lines, circle lines and different shadows, but to have a feeling of the sky, of the clouds, and of the movement, so we can see when we are looking up. And it was not easy, the same for the other, to polish each pieces, to finish it well, and to fix them together. I was not sure about the result because it's the first time I made a work like that, but I was really excited. It was not easy to find a good position with the Margaret pieces.
Yeah, and for those who are listening, this image we see right here is actually taken of the piece in situ showing right now at Asia Society. And because I have touched it many times, I know that it's actually very sturdy, it's very stable, this piece, even though you can see it's actually lifted off the bottom. So it's again a very successful experiment, like you can say. So yeah, can keep moving.
Okay. Design of Aurelien, this wonderful work, I think the repetition, 重复, repetition is the element commonly in our artworks. Because for this one, I also want to capture the movement of the moon. I just pick up the first and the last one, because I'm thinking, because for this project, Aurelien and I are from different country. We haven't seen each other So I want to make something reconnected. So we better look at the sky. Look at the moon. You can see the moon. I also can see the moon.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I think
that's true.
it's important to state for those who may not have had the chance to see the exhibition itself that, you know, this project and this exhibition has been 2 full years in the making.
Yeah.
So these dreams of moonlight, all these sketches come from 2021, 2022, and we're now comfortably seated post-Easter 2023. So all these thoughts and dreams kind of take place over time.
Yeah.
I think it's very important to say that. And seeing this traveling graph of the moon actually does help, because there's a certain element to both of your works and your combined works
Yes.
that I feel are kind of tracing the movement of time.
Yes. Yeah. This is actually what I want to show in my artwork. And also Aurelien did this too.
Yeah. So it's not merely repetition. It's there's kind of something more to it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Interesting projects link up me and Aurelien. So happy. And this is the wood before I make it. And start to see the shapes in my studio.
My God.
And with the small model.
That's a paper model, isn't it?
Yeah, paper model. Yeah.
So your process is to make a small paper model first.
Yeah.
And then make it the final piece according to the size of the wood.
Yes, yes. But sometimes change because when we making the real one, with some accident will happen, some many unexpected. So we will change a little bit when we are making our sculpture. And after I finish my one, I show to Aurelien, and he started to make a thing about how to collaborate with my artwork. I love this idea of your artwork very much because you are so clever. Because my artwork is a moon, it's like a dancing moon. Actually, it's a dancing moon, like two people dancing in the sky, like you and me dancing. And he make another piece of moon or another shapes to enter into the moon, becomes a collaborate one. When I'm making, this is when I'm making, and this is the final one. This one can see Aurelien's artwork more clearly. It's like a shapes, like a horse, and it's like a moving moon.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's like a leg, kind of like in a leg.
Yeah.
Aurelien, do you want to talk more about your idea of
maybe for me this piece was the most difficult I had to realize, strangely, because I didn't know what to do. Dancing moon, it's interesting interesting project, but at the beginning I wanted to do something separate, like this one, not like this one, but separate with two pieces, one in the front of the other. But I didn't want it to make a simple moon in the front and the other moon, so it's so clear, like the same for the other sculpture than we talked before. Dancing, of course, that's the really interesting point, to use the dance like we are dancing together, like two moons are dancing together, and make just one, of course, like a dance. We are just one. And I wanted to with a simple form from outside of the sculpture, marble sculpture, to have the symbolic of the curve of the moon, and put it inside the other one like a dance, of course. But it was not easy. I didn't know how to manage this one yet.
Yeah, the outcome is really nice. I love this very much. It's like three people dancing together.
Yeah, absolutely.
happy.
And the eyes are following everywhere. You want to see each part of the sculpture. Yeah.
Absolutely. There's like kind of, for this piece, there's no beginning or end to it. It kind of, it's very fluid. It keeps moving. It's very tactile. And you can also take it apart and put it back together.
Yeah.
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 Like this one and combine.
Yeah.
Hey, this one, Aurelien artwork. This one also surprised me very much because when I first time see it, it's an egg. It's like an egg, but he said this is a clock because it's turning like this. And also he want to keep the turning, the whole piece of artwork turning. So I think what I can do on this artwork is it's already the perfect one. How I can do it. And I try to think if this is a if this is an egg or this is representing the time, the eggshell time, how can I look it or explore it? So I want to make something coming out from this egg. So I try to put very thin wood attached on his artwork because I want to create the explosion of the time, boom, like this.
With a sound effect.
Yeah,
That's really nice.
Yeah, yes, it's like the egg drop on the floor and explode. And I like this artwork because this wood, I didn't make this wood because I'm the found object. I found it. It's already like this, but not the whole, not like this. But I chop it into small pieces. One big, one small, like this. You can see, and it's really thin. But I choose this because I like because Aurelien artworks. There are a lot of marbles lines. The lines, the gray lines on his artwork. The pattern. And also I choose my this piece of wood is also a lot of texture on the wood. So I think this is like the conversation of the material itself.
Yes.
So I choose this
very
wood.
much so. And it's so interesting to see things come to life off the paper and into 3 dimensions.
Yeah.
So like from that very quick sketch that Margaret showed us to this combined artwork created by Aurelien and Margaret, it's really interesting because when you actually see it in the gallery, it kind of stops being an egg. Like when you see this in real life, it's almost like, well, to me, initially, I remember seeing it and thinking, oh, it's like a wafer in the middle of a scoop of ice cream. And I think the beauty of this whole exhibition is that when members of the public come to view it and see it, they all have their own interpretation of each artwork. So including that piece that Aurelien and Margaret have talked about, the 2 birds in conversation. So it's interesting that both of you had this idea of French flamingo speaking to Hong Kong sparrow. But when children come in to see it, actually, some of them ask me whether the flamingo has an itchy back.
Itchy back.
Yeah, because it's like this. So it's like they wonder whether the bird is just waiting for the other bird to help.
Oh, interesting.
So communication does not have to be verbal. It can be, humans can communicate in terms of touch. And, you know, a back scratch could be just as meaningful as a spoken conversation. So I think it's very interesting what reactions and interpretations come up since the artworks speak for themselves, but are actually silent. So it's this duality, right? Super interesting.
Yeah.
And I think we have just a few more slides before we move into questions.
Just last 2. This is the moon phases. So that's why. And when I first see Aurelien Marble's work, his title is Half Moon Tree. It's like a moon that is a tree and it's looking growing up. So that's why I make another moon. It's the moon phases. It's like a moving moon. It's like a growing, like a plant, echo to his artwork. And this is the final slide of my presentation. Is this is 4 of our artworks in the exhibition hall.
Wonderful.
That's it.
Thank you so much. And we're going to revert back to our normal screen. Lovely. So thank you both, Aurelien and Margaret, for
Thanks to you. Thanks
sharing
so much.
those stories. And we're going to move into sort of the informal question and answer phase, where I'm going to incorporate some questions from what you've said, and also with some questions from the audience who have already very kindly written in. So thank you to anonymous attendee, Julia and Amanda. I'm going to start the questions with a concept of going with the flow, as Margaret has said. So it seems like that the collaboration between Margaret and Aurelien was great and went very smoothly. But was there ever a time when you got frustrated at each other and at your collaborating artist partner? So please feel free to share any hiccups that might have happened along the way. After all, 2 years is a long time.
Yeah, 2 years. Aurelien first.
Oh,
Gentleman
no.
first.
How to start? It's for me. I didn't expect anything. I was totally surprising about these kind of ideas, of course, from Nicola and Cinzia, of the concept to do arts in distance with other materials and other culture, of course, but to touch another artist project, what the most difficult to realize something not from me. And like we know, artists are his personality, his ego, his close on his kind of sculpture. And to work on Margaret's sculpture opened my mind, open my different perspective, maybe to see other things and to know what Margaret project she made. And I was absolutely surprised about the results, like she made for the egg and this explosion she made, the dynamic she finds. At the beginning, it was not the idea, but she finds another way to present it, and then better. Yeah.
Thanks, Aurelien. And Margaret, any moments of frustration? I mean, take into account, it doesn't have to be getting frustrated with someone else, but perhaps just any frustration in the process of trying to achieve what you wanted to achieve.
Yes, because Aurelien, I really also opened up my mind, because when I first see the moon sculpture, him put some marble pieces on my wood sculpture, I really want to cry when I first see it, because I think you are so brave to put something on my artwork. Because I think this is really not easy to put something on others' artwork. Because as we are artists, we are artists. We not suppose any other people work on my artwork, but
Of course.
this is my traditional thinking. But when I first see your artwork, I'm so surprised, really want to cry, because you can put very accurate and very your style pieces of artwork on my artwork. I think this is a very good collaborations, because I can see your style and you can read my mind, and you know the idea of this sculpture, and you open up my mind. compared to the bird I make, I just make a little one stand next to your artwork. I'm not so brave as you. You open up my mind. This is the truth.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
And moving on to another interesting question. So from the conversations we've had, you know, members of the audience have noted that it seems like the Hong Kong artists are very connected to each other in helping each other lend studio space and expertise, you know, with Aurelien being the wood hoarder and Danny allowing usage of his studio space and patio and outdoor area, which is so valuable in Hong Kong. I mean, how much of that, it's more of a question aimed at Aurelien, I think, how much of this sort of helping each other out is also happening in Italy?
Good question. Not the same, maybe because I'm not so near from the other artists. I know them from some of them since a long time, and I know where they are working in Tuscany. But now I'm working in the north of Italy, and we didn't share easily. Maybe sometimes each 2 or 3 months, when I came back for Tuscany, we met all each other and we share our details we made, some picture, presentation, and with at Nicola and Cinzia studio, we met every time each other. But that's we really met and share for the first time when we came in Hong Kong all together.
Yes.
Because at the beginning it was not easy to share like Hong Kong artists made in the Danny studio. I think that's the way we miss in Italy for that. Yeah.
Thank you, Aurelien. And I think it's important for participants of the Zoom and listeners to know that all 10 artists involved spoke constantly with each other. And the very first time we all met in person, due to COVID and very many other factors, was actually just a few weeks ago in March in Hong Kong at Theatre Society. And so a very important follow-on question to that is, how do you both think this connection between the participating artists in this project, in this fusion project, 10 of you, how does this experience affect your creative process and the creation of future works? You know, this exhibition will, it's a big question. So this exhibition will end, but what are you going to take away from this experience to help inform your future creations?
Maybe I can talk a little first, because I think different kinds of materials combined together is look very good and surprise me. And I think for me, maybe I will try to make other material collaborations in the future in my wood sculpture later on. Not just marble, maybe plastic or 3D printing or any other paper sculpture. It's really opened my mind. I think the material can talk itself. I love this conversation between materials.
I think we have to organize another exhibition with other pieces and other connection.
Yes. Agree.
No, I had a really good return about this kind of work with wood and marble, and a lot of people told me here in Italy and friends in France told me that's really incredible work. And I think can be a good opportunity to maybe to keep in touch with Margaret and to have some ideas to share, of course.
Yeah, sure, of course.
That's lovely. And we have another question that's probably a quicker response one, but a curious one nevertheless. And it's in reference to the artwork you created with the two birds, the flamingo and the sparrow. So if it weren't those two particular birds, which would be your backup bird? If you couldn't use a flamingo and sparrow, what other animal would you use maybe?
Animal, not just bird.
Let's keep it to birds first.
Let's give it to birds.
Uh,
This is a genuine audience question, so I'm a
yes,
blind
yes, yes.
moderator
This is
there.
the big test for the end.
if for the religious reason, I will put the pigeon. But for Hong Kong people, I will put the duck, because love to eat duck in Hong Kong.
Ah, yes. Ah, yes. For me, I don't know. I think I really like this kind of birds here in my area in Italy. We have a lot of lakes and a flat place with a lot of water, and there is a lot of these kind of birds walking on the water and eating with a longer
beak.
yeah. And but there is I like so much this kind of small duck, and I saw them too in Hong Kong, the black one with make a strange noise and living always in the water, and I like too much these small birds too. Yeah, can be the idea.
We must take you around more sort of botanical parks and zoos, and next time you're in Hong Kong, Aurelien, we should all go hiking.
Yes.
Soul. And I think moving into the final 5 minutes of this very interesting conversation, I have, a couple of thoughts in my head, but I think it's amazing, this fusion exhibition, because in terms of material, we've moved from found objects to created objects. So as Margaret mentioned, some of the wood was collected from a real typhoon that happened in Hong Kong a couple of years ago. And there's sustainable elements to that, and making use of of materials that are closest to you. And a couple of questions that we had, you both have already answered in the course of your presentations. Sort of what tools did you use? We saw images of that. And we were going to ask sort of what's your feeling or sensation in working with the other material? And Aurelien, to a certain extent, answered that in terms of hot and cold. There's this very hot feeling of working with wood and a much cooler feeling of working with marble. But perhaps back to the very origin story of, out of these 10 artists and each pair coming together. So, Margaret, you basically had, 9 people you could choose from. And you chose Aurelien. If you both zoom back in time with this lineup of artists, Aurelien, would Margaret still have been your first choice? Now looking at the final composite artwork that everyone has created. Would you?
Of course, absolutely, yes.
Of course.
Yes, I vote yes.
yes, definitely.
No, there is no one. No.
Of course they are good, but I like you.
Yes, thank you. We made a good reputation before with Margaret.
Yeah. Give me 5. Give me 5. Joyce too.
I know, it's like we're in Star Trek.
Yeah.
So you remain each other's first choice. So it has been so wonderful to hear from you both. And
thank you.
I hope this exhibition goes from strength to strength and takes both of your artistic practices to the next level as well. And at this stage, even before the halfway point of this exhibition being open to the public in Hong Kong, I think it's already created a lot of breakthroughs internally for you both as artists. And for that, I think we are all very grateful. And if you have any sort of final words or thoughts or feelings you'd love to share with the audience, please do. Margaret or Aurelien?
Maybe I say some words because I want to say thank you to our curator, Cynthia and Nicholas. He paid a lot of efforts, and also some staff in Italy. They pay a lot of effort to create this exhibition, even the stand of the artwork, the panels, a lot of things. They do a lot of put a lot of effort. I want to say thank you to this great curator, and also Joyce. Thank you so much. I love to work with you.
Yeah, thank you for ASHK Society, and thank you, Joy, for that. I will say hello to Nicola and Cynthia next week. I will see them.
Great, that's wonderful. So thank you all for listening in and participating and hearing the wonderful artists Aurelien Boussin and Margaret Chu speak today. On behalf of everyone at Asia Society and the Gallery and Exhibitions team of Amanda and Hayne here with
Thank you for you.
Yeah. Thank you for listening in, and please come visit the exhibition at Asia Society Hong Kong Center, wherever you are. We are here waiting and happy to meet you. So until next time, everyone, and tune into our next artist to artist cultural exchange talks. 4 more to go, and we will be pleased to have you. So have a good day, everyone. Enjoy.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Goodbye.
everyone. Bye-bye.